Welcome to the Heal Yourself podcast, where we dive deep into all things healing. I'm Denise, a speech language pathologist and a self-love coach for adults and teens.
And I'm Kira, a traditional naturopath and functional nutritionist, and we're here to guide you through the transformative process of healing your body, mind, and soul.
From the latest in functional medicine to nurturing your relationship with yourself, healing trauma, and even transforming your money story, we're here to empower you with the knowledge and tools to create lasting change.
So whether you're looking to heal physically, emotionally, or spiritually, join us as we explore the many paths to wholeness and wellness.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Heal Yourself podcast. Today, this is Denise, and I do have a guest with me, and Kira could not join us today, and it'll just be the two of us. So I have Emma Hicks here. Emma is a coach who helps women stop performing and start living from truth, reconnecting to their intuition and building soul-rich lives, relationships, and leadership. Ooh, I love all this. And I love to say that I met you at an event, and I'm so excited to connect with you. So Emma, just let us know, tell us, how did you get into this space, and how did that open up for you? Would love to hear that.
Yeah, thank you, Denise. I'm super happy to drop in with you and have this conversation. So it was actually back in 2018. I was on a business retreat down in Nassau, Costa Rica. And at that time, all of my worth was tied to what I was doing. So the retreat had business tied to it, and that's what got me there. And I sat in my first woman's circle, and that was my first time receiving a message, like a clear message coming in from, I didn't know where, but it was so clear. And the message was to focus on the relationship with my husband. And I ignored it, went back home, didn't change much. And 6 months later, now I'm leading a retreat in Pacific Northwest for 12 women inside this beautiful home. And that was my next woman's circle. And the same message came through. And I realized, I had the epiphany moment that until I surrender and I be submissive to this message and listen, I'm not going to go anywhere. Nothing's going to change in my life. Everything's going to be predictable. And so it was in that experience that I really started to listen and take that serious, and invested in my own mentor. At that time, it was $100 a month, getting on a call with her once a month. And she taught me how to take care of myself and pencil in self-care, like massages and chiropractor appointments. And yeah, really helping me to get on top of the energy and to start to see myself. And then it was just investment after investment from there. I'm sure you know how that goes.
Yes.
The journey. Yeah.
Definitely is a journey. But I'm interested to ask you, because you're not the only one who ignores the messages and go about doing your day.
Yeah.
And why do you think women or men or whoever's listening, I think people in general, we dismiss these messages like, oh, that's nothing. Why do you think we go there and we just don't listen?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of beauty in community and accountability and being witnessed in that and being held in that space when we're left to our own vices and it's just me, myself, and I. There's no accountability there, and I really can get into my independent striving, willing my way through life. And the voices, the chatter that's in the head, deciphering, right? What is truth and what is programming and what is fear.
Yeah, and then I love how you mentioned fear. I think it's also probably fear at the work, or fear at looking inside, or fear at looking deeper
Yeah.
into what that message could lead into.
Mm-hmm.
And but tell us a little bit, how did things shift for you once you paid attention, once you invested in yourself and the relationship, and
Mm.
what has shifted for you? What have you seen so far?
Yeah. I can see right away that it's taking me out of victim consciousness, right? Seeing that everything's happening to me, that my partner's the problem. Um, that clear message that I did receive really showed me how sacred of a mirror my partner is. And when I look back now over the course of my journey, that he was the perfect mirror in setting me free, over and over, time and time again. And mm, yeah, another thing I would say is through listening, being in my sovereignty and being at choice. So finding the freedom. And when I was really after freedom, there was a year there, 2023, where freedom was my word and I was going to figure out how to be free. And when I started to experiment with that embodiment inside of me, I really got to see how hard I was trying. And I would say that's the shadow side of freedom. Is trying. And I was just
I
trying
love that. I love
hard.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned this because I think we all get stuck in the trying.
Yes.
I'm trying to, and that's what, this year, I know it's Kira and I, but I'm gonna talk about myself. We're like, we're just gonna move, take the action, and the world follows, and or whatever follows. I think a lot of us, and it does tie into the victim consciousness mentality, whatever, is the whole I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to communicate better. I'm trying to pencil in self-care, but it ends up being just trying and not doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that a lot?
100%.
Yeah,
Yes. And in my own experience, yeah, just that grip and, trying to keep up with momentum if I'm experiencing success in my business. And I'm gripping and I'm suffocating and I'm blocking, right? All of the miracles and the divine guidance and the flow state that I desire to be there. So the art of letting go is something that I practice every day.
absolutely. Yeah. And then just, always taking that next step that aligns versus just sitting and, thinking about it or whatever. And I feel that, yeah, we just get so caught up in the pushing and the resistance and the all of that comes with it. That
Mm-hmm.
you're right, it does suffocate, and that's, you know. Uh, I would love to know like some of the tools and resources that you have leaned on to shift out of that codependency and into the interdependency in relationships. And talk to me maybe also like for someone who's listening for the first time, maybe, and be like, what does that mean, codependency? Or like, just give us a little bit of context and what tools we can actually utilize.
Yeah. So for me, codependency, when I was in codependency and relationship, it felt like quicksand to me. Everything was really fleeting, drastic highs and then really low lows. And to me, interdependency is being in a secure relationship within self. Um, and getting there, a lot of reparenting with my little girl and building that safety within. And I bounce between still today a few different modalities. I will say that I spend most of my time with tools now that simply move energy, and I don't necessarily feel like I need to like name the age of my little girl anymore and really go into the depths because we've built such safety. Um, which is so beautiful. And she's built so much trust in me. And I'm so passionate to bringing her along on the journey, right? Um, and letting her have that little childhood dream that she always wanted, go to the beach and play while I'm sitting here recording this podcast. I just caught her and seeing where she was taking the lead in relationship this morning. And I really got to see my anxious attachment, and where if I receive a text message from my husband of an invitation and he's like, let's get together, and my anxious little girl inside will be a yes right away to that. And so I've really been creating space and discerning, as I'm stepping into a new level, always evolving, but this is where I'm at right now. And giving her that space, being a loving presence. And that goes the same for my kids too, is they just need my presence just in the room, in the space. They're 9, 12, and 15 years old. And so they're very independent. I'm in a very independent, they're all in, yeah, independent ages. And so really they just need my loving presence in the space. Um, and that's the same for my little girl. And then at first, I was a yes to the invitation with my husband. But moments before that, I was clear the invitation he asked me about, I literally, a minute before that, was like, no, I don't want to go. It was a networking event. And then when he asked me in that text message, I was like, oh, like at first would have been an impulsive yes. But then I slowed down, gave space for my little girl. And then I was a no on the other side. And so my mature self responded from that. And I think I've just seen time and time again where how much it costs me when I'm out of alignment or out of integrity with my yes and my
Tell me a little bit more about that because a lot of us are. And we don't discern that because like because some people say yes, like you do want to do the excitement and the fun, but you gave that a name with like she's anxious and she's impulsive, where my mature self came in and kind of said, I see you, but it's an actual no. So someone's starting in this journey like of reparenting, because some other people are like, oh no, go with the fun, go with the fun. So
yeah.
what is, tell us a little bit more of how we can discern, or what are some maybe attachment types, or what is that little child looking for that we can actually teach differently, or
Yeah.
reparent differently.
Reparent differently. Yeah. So I know for me, anxious attachment is my style. My partner is avoidant attachment. And so both of us to be in an interdependent relationship with one another and with ourselves and to have a healthy relationship, we both need to be in secure relationship within ourselves. And I would say for somebody just beginning in this journey, I think it's really important to be clear on a vision of where you're headed. I think it would be really hard to get out of a loop or a cycle of like, but that's play, like that's fun, and like without a clear vision on where you're going, I don't know if there's a desire to even want to change that behavior. Um, and I see that a lot too in people without kids and like single women, for example. I feel like I've been attracting a lot of single women into my field. And yeah, just the initiation that children take you through and the maturity that you receive and the deep wisdom that is found in having children. And so often, and I mean, I of course even show up in my 15-year-old self and I'll be like, oh my gosh, wow, I've been showing up as my 15-year-old self for a week. Um, but yeah, I found parenting to be very sanctifying in yeah, in my own journey in the reparenting process, and it's giving me a lot of, I guess, drive. But yeah,
And
it would just be to get clear on a vision. Like if you
yeah,
are realizing that you're on this loop, you're in this pattern, you're on the cycle, you keep going, like, can you pull back? Can you create some space in your life? Can you go on
yeah,
a retreat? Can you go be a part of an experience? Can you go to a breathwork class and get access to a vision that fuels
yeah.
you and lights you up? Yeah.
I love what you said, that have the vision, or I mean, I am going to give an example of the whole yes and no and then fun or whatever. Um, and because I do have, I don't want to say it a vision, but I decided, because it's all about choice and decision, that I am not going to, please or fix or go out of my way or put in effort. I'm going to meet effort with effort, etc. and I'm going to put myself first. So, for example, I was going to go to a dinner this week and it was going to be fun. Obviously, I haven't seen this person in a while. It was going to be fun. We're going to be chit-chatting, etc. Going to dinner with a girlfriend, it's always fun, but I realized that, wait a minute, if I do, I'm going to also, and another thing for me is like, I don't want to burn myself out with work, right? With business and with whatever. And I still want to have fun, but I also don't want to burn myself out. So I was like, but if I go to dinner, I'm also going to come back and I have a report to write because I have a meeting the next day that I need to present the report to. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go have fun, kind of give that little girl the like, oh, the impulsive yes. And I'm going to come back, struggle and stay up until like either 10:30 or 11 or I don't know what time so I can go in tired the next day just because I had my fun. So I ended up saying no, apologizing, and I know we had that thing, but I'm just going to say no to it. But I also said the no because also another thing for me, another vision was no over explaining. So I said, dinner won't work for me tonight. Can we reschedule? And then that put me in the leadership role. I come in, I got my report done, and I didn't stay up. I didn't burn myself out and put my nervous system in survival mode again. So it's not, I wasn't saying no to the fun. I was saying no to the new version of, I was saying no to the old version, right? And then satisfying the new version that I'm aligned with. Does that make sense? So
100%.
it does matter to have either, like when you say a vision, people maybe think of a goal,
Mhm.
but it could be your vision is your peace, no rescuing,
Mhm.
no over explaining, no self betrayal. That's what I was going with this. I didn't self betray in order to please
Yeah.
whoever I'm pleasing. It could be that friend or it could be the little girl that really wanted to go out and catch up,
Yeah.
or the teenager,
Yeah.
not the little girl, the teenager. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I love this. So, Emma, if what was actually required to shift your relationship? I really love to. And then, when we say relationship, it could be with your spouse, and it could be with the people around you, whether it's your children or the inner circle, the woman that you work with, or even friendships, parents, etc. Because sometimes I think when we say relationship, people immediately jump to partners or spouse or whatever. And it could be everything. So
Yeah.
tell us, what was actually required to shift that? Because I'm assuming once you shifted the relationship with your husband, a lot of relationships shifted for you.
Yes. Yeah. That's what was coming up when you were speaking. Like how you show up in one way is how you show up in all the ways. And yeah, the journey in making that shift, what was required was putting, and I'm going to use the relationship with my partner because that has been the one that has shifted every other relationship in my life. But it has been to put that relationship on the altar and to continue to put that relationship on the altar over and over and over again. And there's beauty in uncertainty in relationship because everything is temporary. And it has been a really beautiful, hard, rewarding journey that I have had infinite energy for. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot even believe like that amount of energy was inside of me to, create some of the transformations that I've undergone. Um, to call him to rise. Just to paint you a little picture, we were born and raised in Iowa, small town. My mom was a bar owner, 300 people. In the neighboring town, my husband was fourth generation farmer on an acreage. And so we just had really, really deep conditioning, deep roots, and we were really well known, a lot of outward success, had an HGTV reality show on our lives. built business after business after business, had 3 children, beautiful, ended up on our own acreage with all the animals and the beautiful white picket fence. And um, yeah, it was just like still never enough. And that outward success really shone a light and spotlit some of the darkness inside of me that ultimately set me free. And wow, when I think about the amount of like the capacity I have, like huge capacity for life, and now bringing that from the inside out, I'm really excited. I see life in decades. That's how I've been seeing it lately. So we just stepped out of a decade and are stepping into a new decade, and kind of like Bambiing in this beginning of this new decade with a new body of work and new ways of relating, new geographical location, being here in Southern California. Um, Everything new in the way that we raise our family and the way we do celebrations and traditions, and really at choice with everything in life right now, which feels so good, and really designing it, really feeling um, like in ownership and responsibility of stewarding money, which feels so good of like, oh, this is where I put this, and building that new relationship, and creating a new nervous system too. Doing experiences that my nervous system has never done before. Receiving new amounts of income that my nervous system has never received before. So, yeah, I always come back to space, and this generational shifting that we're undergoing for generations to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love everything that you're saying and you've said. But I also want to ask a question,
Yeah.
because and I love how there's a lot of things that shifted with you in the relationship, but someone's listening to this and it's like, but I have been trying and trying and trying, but my partner is not on board. Can you talk to us about that? Because we see a lot of, people, whether again, it's men or women, whoever maybe is doing the work and wanting to shift, the other one is staying in the old, I would say, paradigm or whatever you want to call it. So, is it possible? Because I know that sometimes, yes, I agree, we got to change from the inside. You change, you look inside, and then you change. But what is the other person in the relationship is having some resistance to that? And
Mhm.
again, it can apply to either. You know what I mean? Like it seems that you two both rose together,
Mhm.
right? So what if someone's rising and the other one is not catching up?
Yeah. This is great. So when I came back in 2018 from that retreat and I had that message come through in fear and control, and I didn't know what that message meant. Focus on the relationship with my husband. I was terrified, like you had said, like we don't want to look at the fear. I didn't want to look at the fear. And there was so many stories going on in my head of what that meant. And I was like, I ain't going into that. I'm not opening that Pandora box. And I was just like, you have to start doing the work. You have to start doing the work. And I probably did that for 2 years. And I just knew that, like, if you don't come on board, and I'm starting to see things that I can't unsee and choosing myself for the very first time, and I'm not going to stop doing this. It was in 2022 that we went through a formal separation, and he moved to a hotel. I'm home with the kids. And it was for him in the darkness, in that void, that he reached out for help, and that he took initiative, and he chose to be the leader of his life. Whether this relationship, this marriage failed or not, but he's like, there's like a chance, like something woke up inside of him. And so he reached out, and the next month he went down to a retreat in Texas. And we had just sold our farmhouse. So in Iowa, we owned a farmhouse and this cabin on 40 acres. And I was very driven to selling the farmhouse. So we did that. We had this lump sum of money from that. And then a few months later, he goes on this retreat. He comes back. And, just the timing of this, like we wouldn't have had the money for this coach. He invested in a coach that was there. He wouldn't have had that money I just think about, yeah, just the divine timing of things. Like never pin somebody into this story of like, they don't have the money, they don't have the funds, it couldn't happen for them. $120,000 coach. He invested in himself. We would not have had this money, the funds that like this was the sale of the house that we sold to have the funds to do this. And he literally did this. We were on a coaching call together with our coach, who actually is the reason we're here in Southern California now. Um, that coach, we were both on a call, and he said, "Okay, I think I got your husband caught up to speed now. I think he's caught up." So that was our journey. Everyone's is different, maybe some men are more like inspired by it. I was definitely in a lot of control and fear, and anytime that I surrendered and like gave it up is always when the miracle happened. And nothing
Yeah,
ever from when I
yeah.
was in control and fear. And he did actually, my husband did have a life coach that he invested in maybe a year and a half before this one, but he did it out of the energy to do it for me. And so he never actually made any lasting change.
I was gonna add is that he chose himself.
Yes.
And that's where the shift was because I'm glad that you mentioned that when he chose to do it for you, it didn't give the result. But when he chose himself, so at the end of the day, choosing yourself, and like you said, some relationships will definitely, blossom and be like yours, and some relationships may be an ending of a chapter
Yeah.
or whatever, or it could be, I mean, it could be whatever it is. But I love how you said, just the letting go and letting go of that resistance and expectations.
Yeah.
um, Emma, I'm sure community had a lot to do with your journey. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more about how community has been foundational to your journey.
Yeah, for me, community has set me free in like the shame or the guilt that I'd been bogged down in. Um, Fostering just really beautiful, honest, real, true, genuine connections and friendships that have turned into lifelong sisterhood. It's been a game changer for me and is the reason that I am the woman I am today. No doubt about it. I'm definitely one who a part of my journey was I'll figure this out on my own because I was so crippled down by shame. I was on my bathroom floor for months and months and months and just like it, so for me, I remember distinctly in my early 20s, I shut off my emotions like a faucet. And then in my late 20s, I turned my emotions back on like a faucet. And I didn't care. Like, I didn't know what to do with these emotions. But when I turn them back on, I'm like, I'll figure it out. So often in that journey to be here, I would get stuck in like the sadness. Like I didn't know how to get all the way through. And then the shame would pile down on top of me. So then that would stop me from reaching out or sharing honestly with anybody. But then, yeah, just, and I never brought God into the equation either. So yeah, learned a lot. And like was on the far other side of like no community and now knowing community. I will say that I created a community when I was living in Iowa and it was built for connection. And I I built that for connection, and I thought that everybody else was the problem at the time of why I wasn't receiving the connection I wanted. I was like so fed up with networking events and yada 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 yada. I was in such a victim mindset, and then I hosted that event. And I'm an experiential learner, so I have to be in the experience to transform. And I realized that it was ultimately up to me. How deep I want to go with others is how deep I have to be willing to go with myself. So that ultimately set me free. And yeah, yeah. So now community to me, it's, I was almost like wanting to create community and like put myself in a box so that I could feel safe. And now I am safety, I am home. And community is so vastly different to me than what it was to me 7, 8 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. We are almost nearing the end, and Emma, it's been a pleasure. And I love like everything, every perspective that you offer. It's really cool. What would you tell the one person listening today and who just maybe needs a letting go or needs just that moment of maybe they hear that whisper, but they keep like saying, "Oh, dismissing it." So, what would you tell that person?
I would tell that person to go out into nature and to resource. Like sit and breathe and like associate with the surroundings that are around you. Like really like see the tree in front of you, the sky above you, the ground beneath you. Really slow down with nature and just like see if you can just find your bearings and just be there like a 15 minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, an afternoon.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. I love walking. I love nature. So, Emma, tell us how people can find you. I know we're going to put everything in the show notes. What is something that you offer? Something that just, tell us everything about you. And we would
Yeah.
love to, how if they resonated, how they can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to follow Day in the Life on Instagram, that will be at Hicks underscore underscore Emma. And then I also have my year-long mastermind that is for anybody who would be in person here in Southern California, San Diego area. And that is a year-long mastermind, embodymastermind.com, EM as in Mary, BODY mastermind.com.
Thank you so much. We always end, I know that you took us to nature real quick, so we always end with a few deep breaths and with a mantra or an affirmation. And so, do you mind giving me an affirmation that just comes to mind right now? I'm
I
putting
am,
you on the spot.
yeah, I am love.
Oh, I love that. I am love. Alrighty. So we're gonna just do it 2 cycles. We're gonna take a deep breath to the count of four. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna hold for 4, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. I am love. We're gonna do one more cycle. We're gonna breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. You are love. I am love. We're all love. Thank you so much for tuning in. You know the spiel. If you like this episode, share it with one person that could benefit. Definitely go give Emma a follow. Check out her website. And as I'm saying this, it is 111. So that is your message from the angels to definitely pursue that. That means we are in alignment. Our angels are surrounding us. And thank you so much for tuning in. Leave us a review, and we'll be back next time. Thank you so much.